Hello everybody. Having been recently appointed acting principal clarinet of the Met for the second time, I thought it would be an interesting topic to talk about playing principal versus playing second and then playing E-flat clarinet, for example. There are some very significant differences in each of those positions, so I thought we'd talk a little bit about them today. I've played second in the Met for 10 years, and it's something that I absolutely love to do. It's wonderful to be a part of a team and be the sound and the foundation of the section. It's a little bit about like being a mezzo-soprano. It's a very harmonic role within the section. Your job is to follow the first, follow the dynamics. I was always so concerned about attacks, not coming in too early, always paranoid about attacks. But as a principal player, I found this past year a lot of differences in my mindset. Number one, I needed a much harder setup. I went up a strength in reed. I went from 4 to 4.5 reed. Not only that, I was no longer worried about attacks. My job as a principal is to play with the flute player or listen to the violas or get my cues from the concertmaster. And I no longer needed to worry about what was going on with my section. I let my second player deal with that. It's a much different role. It's more like being a soprano, and you're reaching out across the orchestra to make those connections, to have that group ensemble come together. When you play principal, a couple of things to remember. Number one, confidence is huge. I wish there was a pill for confidence, because I can't tell you how many times I've gone in to play something and feeling a little bit unsure, and it really comes out in your playing. So really being confident is super important. Number two, you need to put so much air into the instrument. If you want to project, and especially at the Met, it's like a 5,000 person hall, you need to project all the way to the last row. And luckily for us, the acoustic there is absolutely amazing. And so the faraway seats are the best seats. But you really need to think about all this air that you're putting in to be this solo voice. I've been very lucky in my 10 years at the Met Plus to have amazing colleagues. And one of the things that people are constantly saying to us is how well we work together. We recently did the ring cycle this past year, which is 4 clarinets. It's so important that everybody had the same concept of sound, but also that everybody understands their different role within the section. In Act 3 of Grenadilla starts with an amazing clarinet trio, and everybody moves together, but then at the end, the second and the third clarinet player move a little bit separately. And a really good second clarinet player knows when to bring out those lines and when to then immediately come back. They lead all the fortes, and then they lead all the diminuendos. So there is both leadership positions, but just in different kinds of ways. The principal needs to lead other things. They're the ones who determine the balance and determine the dynamics, determine the tempo of a run, for example. I can't stress enough when you play second that it's all about harmony. When you have a chord, if you know where to put the third, if you know that your minor third needs to be a certain way, and you know your major third needs to be a certain way, then those chords will ring absolutely true. When you have really good pitch as a second player, it makes all the difference for the pitch of the whole section. A lot of people think that playing second clarinet is a thankless job, but the reality is that any good principal knows that their sound is completely determined by a good second clarinet player. You always know when you have a bad second clarinet player, but sometimes you don't know. You take for granted a really good second clarinet player. So that's really my true love, playing second. Playing principal is also extremely challenging and a lot of fun, and one thing that's been a big bonus this year is just relationship with conductors and working with them in a different kind of way. That's been an extremely rewarding experience for me this year. And lastly, it doesn't matter if you're first or second, as long as you're doing what you love and you have heart, you will succeed.